After the end of a good fight, you deserve an ice-cold reward. Modelo, you put in the hours, the energy, the tough labor. Because you know, the bigger the fight, the better the reward. Modelo, the mark of the fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. Round 1 is over. Behind us, in the past, 4 series, 4 sweeps. We're your hosts, John and Kristen Barber, and today we're going to get into all of that first round madness and what it looks like in the semifinal round as we get ready for the WNBA championship in just a couple weeks. But before that, Kristen, how are we doing today on this Thursday afternoon?
Doing good. Trying to get energized. Had a long day at work. I have my Costco brand lemonade fueling me. If you haven't tried it, run to Costco. It's so good.
Go to Costco.
I had to speed watch these games at work today.
We watched them, but Kristen didn't take notes yesterday.
Right.
That was the key.
It's the late games that I don't pay fully attention.
The 9:30s and the 10.
Yeah, I can't stay up. So I was watching them at work. I had a long day. We're here.
Yes,
ready to chat.
Ready to chat. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to go through each of these matchups and what the results were. If you're new here, welcome. Happy to have you. This is our WNBA podcast where every episode we learn a little bit more about the league at large and get into the players and the teams and everything that's going on around the league. You're in at an interesting time because it's the middle of the playoffs now. But if you would like to send us a message about what you think about the show or about a team in the playoffs or who you think is going to win it all, please send us an email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or connect with us on our Twitter at @ATBpod_. But before that, Kristen's looking at news that we're going to talk about in a moment. But before even that news, we've got other news. We have a couple more players in the unrivaled 3-on-3 league that we talk about every couple weeks. Check in. There have been a couple more clues and a couple more players announced. Kristen, why don't you name players 20 through 22?
Sure. So we got Courtney Vandersloot, which I guess was a little surprising. She's older. I didn't really expect her to be interested, but I'm excited to see her.
Agreed.
And then Brittany Sykes and Shakira Austin, both of our Mystics players who missed a lot of this year, so exciting for them that they can play in the off season. And I did see that Caitlin announced that she will not be playing any off-season basketball.
Oh, really?
So she will not be involved.
Honestly, good for her. Just take a freaking break.
Literally, after that series, she needs a break.
I that is what I think. I think good for her. I think she can certainly afford it to take a break.
Yeah.
But yeah, go work on your craft. You're already, a top 3 passer in the league. Go get better at that. Work on your shooting. And come back next year. And I think the Fever are going to be set to make even more noise than they did this year. So that's unrivaled. We've got 8 spots left. You assume Asia Wilson would probably be one of them, but we don't know at this point. There's only been 2 rookie announcements. The league says that there's going to be a bunch of rookies. We know Cam's hurt, so she won't be playing. I would have loved the Shakira Austin announcement. I was really hoping it was going to be Aaliyah Edwards, a good rookie, but I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe JC's going to play. If Caitlin's not going to play, then you look around and you're like, Camilla maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hope JC Sheldon plays. I think that would be really good for her. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me looking at this list to think of other people. I figure Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, they're probably not going to play. So yeah, I'm really excited to see these last 8 players.
Yeah. And we should get them pretty soon because the league's going to be over before you know it. And I would think that they're not going to just hold out of here for a while. So that's Unrivaled. That's where we're at with Unrivaled. Another notable news story. I tweeted about this on our Twitter account, @ATBpod_. But Mayor of Philadelphia, Sherelle Parker, noted that given the decision to agree to the creation of 76th Place, which it would be the new Sixers Arena in Center City, Philadelphia. If you want to look into that, do some research, check it out. Not going to get into my very complicated opinions about it, because it's a lot. I'm generally someone that's not in favor of it, but again, don't need to get into details. It's going to happen, 90% at least, I would think at this point. But she mentioned in a press conference yesterday that her desire to agree to this new stadium does go and kind of intertwines with her desire, which from back in 2020 COVID era, her pushing the city council to try to go out, and really the state government as well, to try to go out and get a WNBA team for Philadelphia. It was a conversation that she had on multiple levels. She talked to the governor, she talked to the head of city council, and now she's the mayor. She wasn't the mayor before.
Yeah.
It is definitely something that she desires. And there is de facto one spot. There's de facto again, I'm back. One spot, 16th team, that Kathy Engelbert said she wants to have by 2027 or 28. Philadelphia has been in the rumor mill. Every article, we're the first one listed, if not the second one listed. There's a lot of, there's a lot of conversation that feels like it's starting to rev up about that. And we know that the league is looking to finance that and work to discover who that 16th team is going to be. Yeah.
And I mean, of course, the 15th was on the West Coast, so I think putting a 16th one over here on the East Coast just makes sense. I just don't really... It seems that the Sixers leadership, the Sixers owners, are the ones who want to put in a bid, saying they would also own a W team.
Actually, really?
Well, I think that's what this article says.
We've got breaking news while we're recording from Elizabeth.
Yeah, it says Sixers expect to submit a bid for a WNBA team.
Really? See, I did not expect it to be Sixers ownership that wanted to get in.
Don't want that.
I don't. Well, look, I have complicated opinions about Sixers ownership as well. They've ultimately been not the worst owners. There are very bad owners in the NBA. Yeah. These guys are just rich dudes that like to throw their money around, which is mostly fine. They're willing to pay the tax. And for them, a WNBA franchise, which would be valued at $140 million, I think is what the going price would be, is chump change for Josh Harris. He just bought the Commanders for $6 billion.
Why are you buying the Commanders?
Well, because he's not a Philadelphian. He's a fraud.
That's what I don't like.
I would love Will Smith or Wanda Sykes or somebody that has a deeper connection to the city of Philadelphia to be part of this ownership group. And that could be the case.
Yeah.
Maybe they just want to be the majority owners, own 50%, and, share with other people. That, you know, Bradley Cooper, where are you where are you at there? There are a lot of people that I feel like would care about this.
Yeah.
And could certainly, you know, end up being a part of it. But it does sound like Philadelphia is engaging with the league.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. But then I don't know if this 76th place isn't supposed to be done till
2031.
2031. Are they saying we want a W team in 2031? Because I don't know where they would put them before that. Obviously, they could play at Temple. They could play in the current Sixers Arena, Wells Fargo Center. There are options, but it just seems like if the Sixers are going to be directly involved, they would want it to be in their arena. They're like not wanting to share with anybody anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not trying to wait 5-6 years.
Yeah, conversation on a Sixers podcast, the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. They mentioned that, you know, theoretically they could play at the Lee Coors Center, which is where Temple plays, which would be like 10,000 seats. And they're like, and they mentioned on the pod, like, oh, that would be more than enough for a WNBA team. But I do feel like if the Valkyries are successful and the way that the league is heading this direction, new fans like us that are juiced about the league, I think I would think this city would do 15,000 easy.
Oh,
season
easy.
tickets.
Yeah.
They love basketball. We love basketball here in Philadelphia.
I totally agree. I think we'd sell out immediately.
Wells Fargo is 20,900 or something. I think they could do most of that, 85% of that.
Yep.
So, like, yeah, you could do a couple years where you're in a smaller space and then go to 76th place whenever it's available. But please, we cannot wait until 2031. If you have it, if you're reeling in the fish, you got to reel in the fish. You can't let it go and hope that it comes back. So, like...
Right, you got to ride this momentum.
Right. This is it feels the most real than it has since we started the show.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of our show. Because, like, if Philadelphia gets a team, we would change the way that we cover the W because we would have a team.
Okay, we'll see. We're not getting ahead of ourselves.
Not getting the cart ahead of the horse, but I just want to make sure that everyone knows that Philadelphia could be that 16th team.
Everyone knows. Okay.
Everyone knows. Okay, fine. Let's move on. Let's talk playoffs. We've got, like I said, 4 series, 4 sweeps. Let's start from the top here. The New York Liberty versus the Atlanta Dream. The Liberty winning the series in 2 home games. Obviously, we've talked about how we feel about the 3-game series. I would say that certainly after watching all of these series get done in 2, I very much wish that they were 5-game series because I do believe that there could have been cases that pushed to 4 games or even 5 games when you give that lower seed at least a opportunity to have a home court advantage.
Yeah. No, that was really a bummer. Like, at first, going into it, I wasn't so against it, thinking, oh, some of these games will be tough and we'll go to 3 games. But yeah, that was really a bummer that all 4 of these series ended up being sweeps. There was, I think, a huge Fever crowd in Connecticut, which helped the Fever almost win in Connecticut, but it would have been so much more if they had that chance to be in Indiana.
Correct.
Just as one example. So yeah, I definitely think they need to rethink this for next year. More teams, more playoff spots potentially, more games people want to watch. I can't imagine that they'll say we want to keep it 3 games for even just TV media deals.
Right.
Like they'll want to have more viewers.
Yeah. Yep.
So I expect it to be more next year, and hopefully that will help it be more exciting.
Right. And we have friends that say like, well, no, viewership's going to be down because Caitlin isn't here anymore. You're not going to lose me. I'm very much jazzed about all 4 teams that made it into the next round. But again, let's talk about the Liberty versus the Dream. This was a series that both of us picked into for Liberty, and the Liberty handled it. If we go game by game, and we won't go into super detail because we've got a lot to talk about, but game 1 to me was the Leone Phoebus game. Sandy Brondello decided... She doesn't even have a picture on the WNBA site.
She
Leone
doesn't have a
Phoebus.
picture.
Ridiculous. Sandy Brondello decided to bench Courtney Vandersloot, bring her off the bench, and replace her with the
She does.
potential 6th player of the year in Leone Phoebus, who's a 40+% three-point shooter, and it paid dividends. Phoebus was 7 for 8 from the field, made 4 for 4 on her threes, scored a team-high 21 points, and the Liberty ultimately win this game 83-69. That was my biggest takeaway. Atlanta didn't really throw a great punch in this one. Typical things that we saw, struggling to shoot. Tina Charles was the only one that had like a decent day. Nas Hillman was okay, but Tina made 50%. Ryan Howard shot 35%. Alicia Gray, 3 of 9, 33%. So, like, do you have any major takeaways from that first game?
No, I mean, I think, defensively it was pretty even to me. I don't think the Liberty, way outpaced them defensively. They both had 14 turnovers, which was, something to look at. But yeah, it really was just like a case of that we talked about, like Tina Charles having 12 points, Ryan Howard having 14, and nobody else on the team had more than 10. So they just really couldn't get it going. But yeah, did you say Stewie had a double-double?
I did not, but she did in fact have a double-double.
Yeah.
Stewie had a good game, 17 and 10 or something along those lines. Handled her business. The Liberty never were down this entire game.
No.
They led from wire to wire. It was never quite close. They had a 13-point lead after the first quarter. So, you basically wrapped it up, and then you can control.
Yeah, we expected it, I think.
Correct. Game 2,
Game
however,
2 was better.
Was better.
Yeah.
A 91-82 win for the Liberty. The biggest story of this game, to me, was Sabrina Ionescu, who
went off.
We talked about the concept of Sabrina shooting you out of a game. This is the opposite effect, where she's 5 for 11 from 3 and hitting everything, and they're giving her a ton, like a huge shot diet. She shot 23 shots, made 12, had 7 free throws, 36 points, and 9 assists, and 3 steals. Like a great day at the office for Sabrina. This is like playoff Sabrina. This is the player that everyone talked about.
Yeah. No, that was crazy because I don't think she was so incredible in the first game, but just found her rhythm in this game, especially in the third quarter. I think she had 11 points just in the third quarter, and you said ending with 36, which was her career high. So great for Sabrina. It was also, on the Dream side, a very good game from Alicia Gray.
Right.
She was...
The whole Dream 3 were okay. We're good, but Alicia Gray especially.
No, Alicia Gray had 14 points in the first quarter and then kind of was much slower after that. They were able to shut her down, but she started incredibly hot, and Atlanta was leading going into the second quarter. So you're like, okay, the Liberty having some trouble, but then Sabrina just turned it on, and it was fine after that.
Well, and John Quell went 20 and 13. Really good day at on the court for John Quell, who is this player that I think is a pretty substantial X factor in a series, because you think about Sabrina and Stewie, but I feel like you don't always think about John Quell. At least I think about John Quell, but people might not necessarily think about her.
Yeah, we think about John Quell all the time.
All the time. But
John Quell is such a key player in this team. If John Quell's having a great game, I think they can win.
Totally. So Atlanta goes off into the offseason. We don't know what Atlanta's plans are going to be. Of course, after the playoffs are over, we're going to get into what some of these teams might do as they pick up the pieces. Who knows where Tina Charles goes? Kind of sad for Tina. I have in my notes, sorry, Tina, with a sad face.
Oh, well, I don't think she expected to win on this team.
No. But, you gotta hope for her. We are fans of Tina Charles.
I do hope for her. She'll be fine. She was like one of the best players,
She was still very good.
right, in this series.
I agree.
He's on the dream side.
Correct. We'll see if she stays with the Dream or ends up on another team.
I know. I mean, I hope she's friends with the coach. She will return to the Dream, if nothing else.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
But I do hope for Tina that she could go to another team and have a chance to win.
Sure. We'll see. So, congratulations, New York Liberty. You're moving on to face the Las Vegas Aces, who, in a series against the Seattle Storm, 1-2, we look at game number 1, which very well could have been a win for Seattle had they scored more than 2 points in the fourth quarter.
Crazy.
A complete drop-off by the Seattle team that, for large periods of the game, controlled the score. They were in the lead. It was Vegas catching up. But for the back half of the fourth quarter, it was just all Vegas.
Nothing.
All the time.
They could do nothing. Just crazy. Like, really, being in control the whole game, and then you just completely lose it at the very end. I mean, I'm sure that was so frustrating for them. Well, Ezzy was not playing.
Correct.
She was still out with a concussion, which I didn't realize. I thought she would have been back.
Me too.
But she was out, so Mercedes Russell started, who was, I think, not horrible.
Gave them positive minutes.
Yeah.
Was a +1. Led the team in plus minus.
Oh, there you go.
Which is pretty interesting.
And like she was pretty good at blocking Asia. She had some good defense on Asia. So really props to her. I think NECA, I had in my notes that NECA was their best player.
From the series or from the game?
Just from this game. Okay,
Yeah.
wait. This graphic is very confusing to me.
Kristen's in tablet mode on her laptop at the same time, looking at the team stats. It's a little confusing.
Okay.
It's the leaders in each stat,
Okay.
but it's like a pancake, or not a pancake, a pie chart.
Yeah.
Not called a pancake
Okay, I'm
chart.
getting out of this.
Yes, NECA was good. NECA was good. 13-10. Had a double-double. But really, the other story from the Vegas side is Chelsea Gray has arrived.
Dude,
She is a playoff riser.
I love her.
Awesome stuff. She had the a celebration where she was sitting on the ground after an and one, and she's like bouncing
Yes.
bouncing in like a circle.
So funny.
Awesome. Like the passing was all there. The no looks, the like beautiful cross court dimes. Awesome stuff. And like I know that she has this moniker of the point god. She showed every bit of that.
She's absolutely the playoff point guard. If nothing else.
Totally. Like Aces needed this. I mean, Asia gave you 21 and 8. Tiffany Hayes off the bench put up 20.
Yeah, huge.
And Chelsea Gray poured in 16. Chelsea Gray was an offensive force, a little bit more than I feel like we're used to seeing.
I know. Like usually I just imagine her and see her like handling the ball, passing the ball for other people. But no, when she pulls up and shoots an incredible 3, it's like I love it. It's mesmerizing. I'm like,
She
no
only has to
way.
make 1 or 2 in a game.
Yeah,
She does.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And a particularly bad shooting night game 1 for Kelsey Plum.
Yes,
who only had
bad.
2 points.
Yeah.
1 of 8 from the field. Did not make a 3.
No,
obviously.
she really struggled. Yeah.
So you needed to find it elsewhere. And that's why having a player like Tiffany Hayes is so important for the Aces team. They can go somewhere else and not have to rely on Asia KP, Chelsea, and Jackie to do everything. They have other options.
Yeah. And Jackie had a fine night.
Yeah, a decent night for Jackie Young.
Yeah.
But pivoting to game 2, another Aces win, obviously 83-76. This was a little higher scoring and a very different game for Kelsey Plum,
Yeah.
who turned it on, found the shot, 11 for 15 from the field, poured in a team high 29. It was her and Asia that did the heavy lifting for the scoring for the Aces. But again, Chelsea Gray, 9 dimes and hit some big threes early to give the Aces an advantage, or help pull it back when they started down a little bit to Seattle.
Yeah, no, Chelsea, she didn't have a great field goal percentage night. She only shot 30% field goal percentage and 33% from 3. But it just feels like it happens in the most perfect times. Like when they need something to happen, she does it, and then it just allows them to have some more momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. She hit a celebration in this game where she put her left hand up to her eye like a spyglass, and then her right hand was like a crank. So it was like a movie reel, because she was shooting a movie because her passes were so good. I was like, oh, that's such a good celebration.
Yeah.
She knows the moment.
Oh, yeah.
So well. Better than, I would say, anybody in any game, in any series. She knows that she's coming for the three-peat. She wants it bad.
She does. And I think she's just enjoying herself. She knows how good she is. She knows how good this team is and what they can do. And she seems like she's having just an amazing time.
Absolutely.
So the Aces were leading for all of, quarter 1 going into quarter 2 by a lot, 23-7, I think was their biggest lead. Whatever that lead is.
16 points.
Uh-huh.
Little quick maths.
Yeah. But then the Storm came back in the third quarter. They were leading in the fourth quarter. But then again, kind of drops the ball at the end of the game. I think someone that stands out to me is Jewel Lloyd. She had 6 points in the game 1. She had 9 points in game 2.
Yes.
And it's just I'm sure she's disappointed. I'm sure the coach, it's just was not a good year really for Jewel Lloyd.
No, it was a bummer because she really kind of shot them out of the game. Jewel Lloyd was this player that there were a lot of high expectations for around the league going into this season. MVP type talent. And just didn't have it, and especially in the playoffs, it was a bummer to see because, a player like Gabby Williams,
she was so good in this
awesome.
Game. Yes,
she was awesome.
If she wasn't there, if they didn't get her, it would have been much worse.
But the flashing of speed that she had, if Jewel just gives a little bit more, then they force game 3, and who the heck knows? Honestly,
when they're at home.
Yeah.
Per game 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seattle showed up in general, but,
They had 11 steals in the second game.
And they lead the league in steals for a reason.
Yeah. Well, they didn't lead in the first game. Vegas had more steals and more blocks than them in the first game. But in the second game, they were much better and had 11 steals. That's crazy to me. And usually I think, Skylar Diggins-Smith, she had 3. Nneka actually had 4 steals.
No, actually, Nneka leads the team. Nneka
really?
leads the team in steals.
There you go.
And Ezzy was back, and Ezzy was good.
Yeah, Ezzy was good.
So, what does Ezzy in game 1 do for you?
Exactly.
She's there.
Right.
So
that's just, it just didn't work out for Seattle.
It's a bummer.
If the pieces were more into place, they could have forced a game 3, and who knows. But now we are looking forward to see
the rematch.
Aces versus Liberty.
I think this is going to be. I still think this is going to be a 5-game series. I do like that both teams will come in equal rest.
Yes.
Neither of them will have to play an extra game. Because I want these teams to be at full power. I want everybody to be healthy, and everybody is healthy. And I don't see Sandy going back to Sloot. I think Phoebish proved that she should start in that 5th spot.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just think it's going to be a dogfight. And I don't think my opinion changes. I still will pick New York in 5.
Okay.
Just because if Sabrina is going to play at this level in the playoffs, then I believe it. But of course, KP plus Asia is going to be great. And if Chelsea is passing at this level, then, you know, they're going to need to just knock down their shots. And Vegas could just outshoot them purely. And
I don't...
get ahead.
Vegas could.
Vegas could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think after watching these, I don't know. It's still really going to be such a close series, I'm sure. But I still am leaning towards the aces. I'm still leaning Asia over Jonquel and over Stewie. I don't know. Asia is just such a good player, right?
Yeah,
she's so good. And having Chelsea Gray being able to shoot, having Tiffany Hayes being able to shoot, with Jackie Young didn't have a good second game.
No.
She, you know.
But it's fine.
But she can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to pick the aces there.
Alicia Clark was playing positive minutes too. So get excited about that one. This is going to be a big one. So now let's get into our other two matchups and what the other side of the bracket is looking like.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. See ebaymotors.com.
We had another big series that many people, Kristen included, were picking Indiana Fever to come out on top in 3 games. And sure enough, Connecticut proved a lot of people wrong.
Proved me wrong.
Very, very wrong. This was still my favorite series, because I do think that the game 2 in this series was the best game of the first round.
Yeah.
Even though game 1 was pretty much a domination of Connecticut over Indiana. Mm-hmm. It was a 93-69. Just plain wrecked. Completely controlled by Connecticut. Pretty much the game plan that I was suggesting. Like, if they can control the pace, Indy could not push the way that they wanted to push, the way that they're good at pushing. And they just didn't make their shots. Caitlin, 2 for 13.
Yeah.
Not a great day for her.
No, it was definitely a rough shooting day for Caitlin. You said 2 for 13. Lexi Hull, who I really think they were still hoping Lexi Hull was going to be as hot as she was finishing the season. Well, she was 0 for 2 from 3.
I don't know how you don't get her more shots when she leads the league in 3-point percentage.
Right. Weird. And Kelsey Mitchell was 2 for 10 from 3. So they just weren't. They weren't falling for Indiana, and they were falling for Marina Mabry.
I said on this pod last week, if Marina Mabry makes 5 threes in a playoff game and wins you the game, then the trade was worth it. And sure enough, in this first game, in the second half, she made 5 of 12 threes. And they very much won the game. Marina was awesome.
Yeah.
This series. And, we've had different opinions about Marina Mabry throughout the season. Obviously, she started in Chicago, and the Chicago experiment didn't necessarily go as planned. But the Sun, you have to give their front office props for going and getting this dog of a player that can go make some threes and help you stretch these leads in these games, or make dagger shots in game 2 to win you the games.
Yeah. I didn't trust her. I didn't think this trade would make really much of a difference at all.
I don't trust you.
But at least in this first game, she was incredible. And she came off the bench.
So she did not start.
She had 27 points off the bench, which was the most in W playoff history from a bench player.
Crazy.
Well, she started the second half. I don't know. Ty Harris got hurt.
She started the second game? Or the second half of the game? Yes.
Yeah.
She came in for Ty.
Yeah.
And then started the second game in place of Ty because Ty was hurt. It was funny because I was like, oh, Marina's in. And then I reread the decision for game 2, and it's like, if Ty Harris is not, this is the official announcement, if Ty Harris is not playing, Marina Mabry will start.
Well, and that's just ridiculous to me. Why are you saying that? Just start Marina Mabry.
Well, they did.
Well, yeah, they did.
Other things of note, Duana Bonner, 22 points, and Alyssa Thomas, another playoff triple-double.
Her fourth. When only 2 other players have won.
It's
in the whole history of the double. The double. Triple doubles, I don't know.
The triple W.
Yes.
Alyssa Thomas, especially, her passing was great as well.
Yeah.
13 assists in this game. Truly the bully ball player that we've known her to be. Affecting on both ends of the court. Didn't shoot particularly well, only 6 of 15, but it didn't really matter.
No.
Because they controlled the shot clock so much in this game that and Indy chucking up bricks, you had the game won in hand by really the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it really is a pretty easy game plan when you can stretch your own shot clock so much, and then the Fever kind of do it to themselves where they run and try to
find something,
a quick 3 that doesn't go down.
Right.
So, they were very lucky in this first game that the Fever's 3-point shooting percentage was not good.
Correct.
It was better in the second game.
It absolutely was.
And it was a much closer game.
Now, Caitlin Clark, 3 of 12 in game 2. Kelsey Mitchell, 3 of 9 in game 2. Connecticut, Marina, 3 of 10. Connecticut only makes 5 threes in this game to Indy's 8, which is part of the story here. But Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell play all 40 minutes. Alyssa Thomas plays all 40 minutes.
Crazy.
Marina plays 39 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
From that starting position. And it is a back and forth kind of game. There is a portion honestly, if you don't watch anything from this first round of the playoffs, if you haven't watched anything and you're just listening to ATB because you're loyal to our podcast, thank you. Go watch the fourth quarter of this game, because this was the blueprint for Indy. They outshot volume of shots.
Yeah.
Connecticut. And that's when they pushed it to where they were able to push it and take these leads near the end of the game. This is the Indy that I thought I was going to see the entire series.
Exactly.
And it came down to DeWanna Bonner making a 3 or 2. Marina making a 3 to put them up 4 when they're only on the teeter-totter, the 1-point swing.
Right. And I wrote this down. I was like, and this was clutch time. And this was DeWanna shot a really clutch 3. And then Marina shot a super clutch 3 right after Caitlin had shot a 3. So I'm like, wow, they are having amazing nights. But not really. Like, DeWanna Bonner was 1 for 6 and Marina was 3 for 10.
Yeah, it felt like they were better.
So it just happened at, in the perfect time when they needed it.
Right.
Clutch.
That's clutch. Are they both clutch? I would say they're clutch.
I'd say.
Marina, clutch.
I guess.
So, Indy goes home. Caitlin, not going to play basketball in the offseason. Weird decision in Connecticut to not play Nalissa Smith more than 5 minutes in this entire second game.
Yeah. They were really strict with their minutes. Who was playing?
They were, but I mean, I really guess Nalissa gave you nothing, even though I thought she was pretty good. Temi Fagbenle was there, and a player. She was good. She was mostly good, but there was like a key play where she was on an island against Alyssa Thomas. She was like trying to back her in the post, and Temi cannot dribble, and Indiana players, Kelsey and Caitlin, were standing around at the top of the arc, didn't give her an outlet, and the whole right side of the court, the whole near side of the court, was wide open. If one of them could have swung around and like given her some space so that she can reset on AT, but AT just swats the ball out of her hand, forces an errant shot, and that's just the ability of Alyssa Thomas to control.
Really mad props to Alyssa Thomas. I can admit that I completely didn't see how good she was going to be in these games. And she completely brought it.
Absolutely.
And I think she can absolutely be a difference when it comes to them facing the Lynx in the next round. So we can move to the Mercury Lynx series.
Yes.
Which was also a great series.
It was a great series. Game 1. Game 1 was our highest scoring game of this first round. 102-95 win for Minnesota. A game where Phoenix goes out and shoots 50%. And Minnesota shoots 49%.
Out of nowhere from the Mercury.
Well, remember, the Mercury are a high volume shooting team. They shoot a lot.
Yeah.
They play pretty fast, and they shoot a lot of threes.
We focus a lot on the Mercury at the beginning of this W season. I don't think I watched a Mercury game after the break, which shame on me. I should have.
Aside from a quarter or two. No, we weren't.
Right, not
They
a
never
full
really
game.
played any of the other teams that we watched.
Right. So I was not expecting this at all from them. From Natasha Cloud, I was
Cloud.
not expecting it.
Natasha Cloud is one of the handful of players that I felt so compelled to tweet about, because this game 1, 33 points, 10 assists, 6 boards, 1 steal, 1 block, shot the most on the team, 4 for 8 from 3. She was a revelation. For me, I think of Natasha Cloud as a single-digit scorer, but she was pouring it in from all over, from all sorts of different spots. She wanted this game more than anybody on the court.
Yeah.
Anybody on the court. Even Nafisa Collier, who... But, damn. Nothing but respect for, our Delco product. Love that we can say that Tosh Cloud, who we watched ring the bell at a Sixers game, always is wearing a Phillies hat, had one hell of a playoffs. I'm excited to see what she does in Phoenix, next year. But, she pours in 33. Diana Taurasi has 21. Vintage DT. Ka, 16. BG, 10 points. Sophie Cunningham, 8. But Minnesota, on the other side, Nafisa Collier puts in 38 points in the first game.
Insane.
Kayla McBride gets you 20. And then you spread the wealth among the other 5 or 6 players that get minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just, Misha Hines-Allen was really good in this series. And in limited minutes, but like gave them something that they needed.
Yes.
An extra bit of strength.
An extra bit of defense, an extra bit of strength for sure. But this game was like super physical. Both of these games were. Many of the players were in foul trouble. Both of these games.
Right.
The first game, Sophie, Ka, and Alana Smith were in foul trouble in the first game. Did DT foul out in the second game?
DT did foul out.
She had 6 fouls.
Yes, she fouled out. Which
Crazy.
is in her final game. Look, like she was showing so little emotion.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way that's it. There were people in the crowd saying, "Give us another year, Diana." That's what the announcers were saying. And I'm like, yeah, this feels pretty obvious. She was good. She was just playing good.
No, she was. She was playing good. She is still good. Absolutely. So, no, give us another 3 more years.
Friend of the pod, Laura. DT's sticking around. Feels like
for
it.
Sure.
Feels like it. But I want to say the real reason that Minnesota won this game, obviously, is it's basically Nafisa Collier.
Yeah.
13 of 14 from the free throw line. The team shoots 24 of 25 from the free throw line.
Good.
To Phoenix's 7 out of 11. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the reason. They only won by 7 points.
Okay.
They needed these free throws.
Oh, there you go.
And in game 2, they poured in the free throws again. Minnesota wins 101 to 88.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know who's going to be able to stop them.
Nafisa has 14 free throws again. But this game, she ties the league high in points scored in a playoff game with 42. Nafisa Collier scored 80 points by herself in 2 games.
Yeah. And
is playing like she is the best player in the playoffs right now. Yeah. She is better than Asia. She's better than Asia. She was second in MVP voting. She deserves all of that and more. If there could have been 2 MVP awards, she should have gotten. The fact that she didn't get any votes is now funny.
It kind of sucks.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Even though like Asia obviously deserves to be unanimous MVP for how she played in the regular season, but like,
hey,
Nafisa Collier, man,
give her finals.
You can be
MVP.
finals MVP, right? Another great game. The starting 5 for Minnesota, all in double figures.
Yeah, really good. They're just so good at like spreading out the points.
Of course.
And like obviously Fee is getting so much more than everybody else. But like when there's not that obvious number 2 or obvious number 3, which like is the case on so many of these other teams, it becomes so much harder to defend them.
Yep.
Which was a big issue for the Mercury. They kept talking, the announcers kept talking about like, oh, the Mercury are trying to play zone defense for the first time this whole year because of, and they did a good job in the first game, but you know, you just can't, if you've never, you know, really tried to do that and the Lynx are so hard to defend, you just can't stop them.
Yeah, and it's funny because we said that, like, oh, Minnesota's going to control this series because their defense is the best in the league. But they had Cheryl Reeve mic'd up in the second game, and she was like, they were like, Coach, what did you see in that second quarter? She's like, our defense is non-existent. In 2 halves, we let up 100 points. We cannot let up 100 points, or we won't beat better teams.
Fair.
Which, like, we're going to talk about how they match up with Connecticut in a minute, but, like, obviously, Mercury is a offensively talented team, scored a ton of points, but Minnesota just plain kept up and just outshot.
Yeah,
like I was just as impressed as any other team with Minnesota's ability to, you know, score in triple figures, and this is going to be like a real run for Nafisa Collier.
Yeah.
Could be a real prove it. I know a lot of people think that the Lynx is the trendy pick to win the season, win the whole thing, because they might get through Connecticut a little easier, and then you have whoever wins New York and Aces probably all getting exhausted from playing hardball.
Yeah.
Minnesota, man, like.
Well, I also just wanted to say, I feel like one thing I was really watching for the Mercury was Sophie Cunningham. Because she can get on tears and be so good at shooting threes. Or she could get in a lot of foul trouble. And
there was a pivot point in that game too.
And I think she didn't have any points until the fourth quarter of the second game. She was completely shut out. And then she only ended with 5 points.
Yeah, she committed a flagrant foul on Bridget Carlton, I believe. And then there was like a 19-7 point swing for Minnesota. They just rallied around that action, that single action, and they play with a degree of heart that, like, when they put in a shot and they force a foul and they get an and one, it doesn't matter who it is. They're all pumping their fists like crazy. They are just a really good team that is going to be able to stay, point wise with any of these teams. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Connecticut surprises us. Minnesota does, impresses us as well.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a pretty good series. I don't think this is going to be like some kind of dud.
No.
Because Connecticut's ability to control Indiana was something that we talked about, but Minnesota can play at a slower pace, and they're fine with that.
Exactly. Right. They can slow themselves down compared to Indiana, which I don't think they could. So they're more deliberate with their passing and they're going to the rim. So I think this is going to be a great series. I don't necessarily think it'll go to 5. I don't know if it will be that close. I have the Lynx coming out of it. I just think I'm trying to look at the 3-point percentages. Obviously, Marina Mabrey was going off.
3-point percentages for the Lynx in the first round.
For the Lynx in the first round, and then the Sun in the first round.
Well, the Lynx were 10 for 26 in game 2. I can tell you that. They shot 38%. And in game 1, they shot, let's do some quick maths here. They shot 10 of 24, so 41%. So they're about 40% on the playoffs. And Connecticut, who we know does not shoot a very high volume of threes.
The volume.
Shot 9 of 18 in that first game. So 50%. But only on 18.
Right.
So a much smaller diet. And then in that last game against Indiana, they shot 5 of 19, 26%.
Yeah.
So if 8, 13, 19, and 16, 37. They're only shooting somewhere in the mid to low 30s.
Okay.
So, they're shooting worse and they're shooting less.
Yeah.
Than Minnesota.
Yeah.
And, Bree Jones got hurt. We didn't mention that. But, I assume she'll be back and she'll be fine. You're probably going to need her to be there if you want to have a shot against Fee, who can, score from any point in the paint or outside the arc. I think they're going to have a tough time if they want to try to scoring in the paint.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't see them
But they don't really do that anyway much.
Connecticut?
Oh, no, the Lynx.
That's what I'm saying. Connecticut needs to win the game by outscoring them in the paint. But I do think that Minnesota, if they play their normal level of defense, is going to be tough to score against in the paint. So, Connecticut is going to have to shoot more threes. Plain and simple. Marina's going to have to shoot her until her arm falls off. And she's going to have to get hot early.
Dawana is going to try. AT's going to not shoot
Not
threes, but long twos she'll try.
Well, not long twos. Maybe like free throw
Mid-range.
line.
Okay, fine.
Push shots.
Long enough. So just looking at the last 15 games of the regular season, which is what I mainly looked at when I was, going about my predictions. The Lynx were the second best offense behind the Fever. So that's something. At 108 points.
108 points.
The Sun were second to last at 100. So a big gap in between these two teams in offensive rating.
Yeah.
But
Connecticut scored well in these, in these playoffs.
Oh, for sure. Like better than I thought.
Against
So they
a bad Indiana defense, though.
Sure. But then the defense is much closer. Connecticut does have a better defense. But they were second behind the Liberty in defense in the last 15 games. But the Lynx were right behind them. Only a 2-point difference separating the two of them. So the Sun will for sure be going against a better defense, a much harder defense to crack than the Fever, who was like last on the defensive. But can AT just bully them? Misha Hines-Allen. Can she bully Misha Hines-Allen? Yeah, I think she can.
Maybe. But can she bully Nafisa Collier? I don't know. I don't know. I'll stick with Minnesota in 4. I think Connecticut's going to win one of their home games. I think their crowd is juiced.
Yeah, they are for sure.
And especially the way they treated the waving away of Indiana. Bye. They're going to be excited for the second round.
Okay.
And they're going to hope that they can win. But first 2 are in Minnesota. So
yeah.
Let's see what it could be. If you're down 2, it's a little scary.
Yeah, it is.
A little scary.
Okay.
But anyway, that's it for the first round. Exciting prospects of round 2. We're going to be back probably midweek next week. Maybe end of the week. Maybe when round 2 is a little close to being finished.
Yeah.
Because we got our trip coming up. So you might miss us for a week or 2. But we will be back for the championship. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. But I've loved the way that this playoffs has been. I love that I've been watching every game. I really don't even do that in the NBA. I only watch the Sixers games.
Yeah.
And then when the Sixers get eliminated, I get sad and I don't watch any more basketball.
Yeah, you just cry.
But it's fun to watch playoff basketball.
So fun. I honestly was like a little bit worried. Like we were getting kind of snoozy towards the end of the season. I guess the teams were like just trying to ramp up and not waste their energy.
Right.
But I was like, these playoffs better be good. Like, I don't know.
And so far as 4 sweeps,
Yeah.
they were still good. Still good series.
So good. The game, it's incredible. It's incredible energy. The crowds are incredible.
Yep.
The coaches are like, Becky Hammond is like constantly, she won't calm down.
And Cheryl's just chilling. Cheryl chills. She's like, I got my foot up on the. Cheryl Reeve. Just gotta say, she's my favorite coach in the W by like leaps and bounds.
Coach of the year.
And
some would
should
say.
be the coach of the year. But yes, great playoffs.
Yep.
Going to continue to be great. Still watch. If you are one of the people that are only watching for Caitlin, which I doubt that there's any of those people that listen to this podcast, you never know. Keep watching. Keep watching.
No,
the product is so good.
Caitlin had an incredible, great year. This does not take away from that at all.
Yes.
She's still, I'm sure it will be unanimous rookie of the year. It's just, her team, they have work to do. They have ways they can get better. I think this challenged her, this stretched her, and next season in the playoffs, she'll be better.
Yep. And maybe they'll get a home game to start.
True.
We'll see. Anyway, that's going to do it for our coverage of the first round of the WNBA playoffs. Again, if you want to send us an email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com or connect with us on our Twitter at @ATBpod_. But we will be back next week to talk about round 2. Hopefully we get some good series. Believe it. But Kristen, I'm looking at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
That's right. Attack the baseline. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you soon. But until then, goodbye.
At Ashley, you'll find colorful furniture that brings your home to life. Ashley makes it easier than ever to express your personal style with an array of looks in fun trending hues to choose from earth tones to vibrant colors to calming blues and greens. Ashley has pieces for every room in the house in the season's most sought-after shades. A more colorful life starts at Ashley. Shop in store, online today. Ashley, for the love of home.
Bingo.
All right, Phil, we're recording now, so it's live. Go ahead, pick on me the way that you want to.
Did I say that? I wouldn't say that to my son. Man, I mean, come on, man.
Just go. This isn't CBS.
All right, be quiet for a few seconds. Why would people want to listen to the Sims Complete podcast? Well, a couple things. One, if you like to see sons pick on their father, this might be the place. If you want to see a place where the father just kicks the out of his son, this would be the place. What do you like about it, Matt?
Ditto. Father-son dynamic duo talking about the game of football that we love and share and appreciate together. And, you know, hey, it's an extension of what we did, right? Growing up, I was able to watch my father play football, then obviously watch him as a broadcaster. And then he taught me the game of football and share the wisdom that he learned throughout his playing career. And, you know, hey, sometimes we're full of it and sometimes we actually know a thing or two.
Well, we do a lot of research. At least I do. You're a little spotty, but you know, you hang in there. It's fun. I love doing this and it's been awesome.
Sims Complete. Check us out wherever your podcasts are available on the Believe Network. Appreciate it. See ya.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.